Good evening, and thank you for joining us. And as we come on the air tonight, the number of coronavirus cases in the United States is growing exponentially. And the Surgeon General says it is going to get worse this week. More than a dozen states are now either ordering or asking people to stay home. School is now closed for 55 million children. And today, Virginia's governor called off school for the rest of the year. Stocks plunged again on Wall Street as senators battled over a relief and stimulus plan. And just moments ago, the president said that the country was not built to be shut down and hinted that he wants to find a way to get some people back to work, even as experts say Americans need to stay at home. The president's comments come as states and cities are frantically trying to round up medical supplies and increase hospital beds. Now, an update on the cases here in the U.S. They have topped 42,000 with nearly 600 deaths. That's new. New York State has become the epicenter of the outbreak. 6% of all cases in the world are there. Today, Florida's governor ordered anyone traveling from New York to Florida must go into quarantine for 14 days. Jericka Duncan is in New York City and leads off our coverage there. Jericka?
Well, today, Nora, marks the first day of the most restrictive guidelines here, stay-at-home orders in New York City. We also know that essential workers are the only ones that are supposed to be out. Now, I can tell you right now, as the streets and the sounds of the streets are getting quieter, the message to stay inside is getting louder each day.
Help has arrived in New York City. One of the nation's largest convention centers is being turned into a field hospital. The goal, 1,000 beds for non-coronavirus trauma patients to ease the burden of overwhelmed hospitals.
This is a public health emergency. This is a matter of life and death.
Half of the country's COVID-19 patients are in New York State, and 1,800 of them are in the city's hospitals. Governor Andrew Cuomo says the state is trying to get as many medical supplies as it can.
And we need about 30,000 ventilators, and we can just not get them.
Hospitals are overwhelmed with patients and alarmed that the supplies they have now will be gone in days. Surgeon Cornelia Griggs has been on the front lines at New York Presbyterian.
And when you're a doctor, that's really your armor when you are walking into a room of a patient with a very infectious disease. And when we don't have our armor, we're completely vulnerable.
The number of coronavirus cases in New York has nearly tripled in the last 3 days, totaling over 20,000 cases. Louisiana has one of the fastest growth rates in the country. A stay-at-home order remains in place in at least 13 states across the country. Michigan was the latest.
We will all have to make significant sacrifices.
More than 8,600 National Guard troops have been activated in all 50 states and D.C., and supply chains are being disrupted. Some Amazon Prime shipping is reportedly delayed as long as a month. 33-year-old Jason Knoll is living with coronavirus. He remains hopeful people will do what's required to keep everyone safe.
It's not a big deal for people that are you and me, my age, and people that are younger. It's not. But it is a big deal for those around them. It's a big deal for people like my daughter who has a heart condition. It's a big deal for people who, like my parents, my kids' grandparents. If they get sick, it's a lot more serious.
Last week, Governor Cuomo called on retired doctors, even nursing students, to help answer those calls for help, saying that they need more of those medical workers. Well, today, Nora, Governor Cuomo reported that 30,000 people reached out to say they want to volunteer, they want to help fight this pandemic.
Wow. Jericka, thank you.